What is up, y'all? Adidas Man here. And my mic quality is probably better on this than it usually is because I'm actually using my studio mic and my camera quality is shittier than yeah, I could say that. I didn't make it for kids. But my camera quality is crappier than it was when I was doing the game show and stuff like that because I recorded it on my phone versus recording it on my computer. Now, what I want to do today is I want to do a little bit of reading. I want to make sure that but I don't want to just read because that'll get really boring. So if you happen to pop in the chat, if you happen to see that I'm live or anything, and you want to pop in, say hey. We'll chat a little bit. I'm gonna be taking breaks between reading and all that stuff because I want this to be a conversation more than just a read along, But today we're reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and I guess we're just gonna kind of see and think about what all we're doing. Give me a second. I'm gonna make sure that everything is chill. I know that I can see myself, but hey, Minecraft released a thing. Don't worry about that. Hold on, I'm gonna call my cousin real quick. Maybe. I messaged him awaken. All right. Anyway, let's start. There's not really much to not really much to do, so I guess we're just gonna start and we're gonna have fun. Book one. From my grandfather Varus, decency and a mild temper. From what they say, I remember from my natural father integrity and manliness. From my mother, piety, generosity, the avoidance of wrong, doing, and even the thought of it. Also, simplicity of living, well clear of the habits of the rich. From my great grandfather, not to have attended schools for the public, to have had had good teachers at home, and to realize that this sort of thing, sorry, this that this is a sort of thing on which one should spend lavishly. From my tutor, not to become a green or blue supporter at the races, or side with the lights or heavies in the amphitheater, to tolerate pain and to feel few needs, to work with my own hands and mind my own business, to be deaf to malicious gossip. Now, I think that's interesting. Talking about how gossip being malicious, like that's a very interesting way to think about because like if you you know someone's talking bad about someone, and that doesn't just affect them; that affects everyone around them. Like say that you think someone stinks, like that's I wouldn't call that malicious if you're meaning it in a kind way, but I think that when people talk about like your shoes are ugly, you're you're kissing boys or whatever. I think shit like that's stupid. Like why does it matter what people do in their own bedroom? Which I don't know if that's exactly what this is talking about, and I'm pretty sure it goes on later to have like stuff about homophobia and stuff, which is kind of sucky. But we're not here to judge what the people from months, years, thousands of years, I think hundreds, something from forever ago. We're not here to judge those people. We're here to take from their wisdom and not from their hate, right? I think that sounds good to me. Anyway, back to what we were saying. From Diogenetus, to avoid empty enthusiasms, to disbelieve all that is talked by miracle mongers and quacks of incantations, exorcism of demons, and the like, to not hold quail fights or be excited by such sports, to tolerate plain speaking, to have an affinity for philosophy, and to attend the lectures first Bacchius, then of Tandidasis and Marcanius, to write essays from a young age, to love the camp bed and the hide blanket, and all else involved in Greek training. From Rusticus to grasp the idea of wanting correction. Sorry, let me get hold of my page here. Wanting correction and treatment for my character, not to be diverted into a taste for rhetoric. So, not writing up my own speculations, delivering my own little moral sermons, or presenting the glorified picture of an ascetic or the philanthropist. To keep clear of speechifying, versifying, and pretentious language. Not to walk around at home in ceremonial dress, or to or do anything else like that. To write letters in an unaffected style, like his own letters written to my mother from Sinusa, to be readily recalled to consolation with those who have taken or given offense, just as soon as they themselves are willing to turn back, to read carefully, not satisfied with my own superficial thoughts or quick to accept the facile views of others, to have encountered the discourses of Epictetus, to which he introduced me with my own copy. Which that's actually crazy. The discourses of Epictetus are the thing that got me into philosophy. Because I was reading about it. I didn't read all of it because it was a book that I rented from the library, but I read a lot of it and it was very interesting. I don't remember anything about it because that was back when I was still like super drugged up, but but that is what got me into it, and that's kind of what started my whole character growth journey, which I think is very crazy because when you think about philosophy, you think about people who have beards, wear glasses, and smoke pipes. I'm one of three, I'm two of three, I guess. But but yeah. Uh, After that, here we go. From Apollonius, moral freedom, the the certainty to ignore the dice of fortune, and have no other perceptives, even for a moment, than that of reason alone. To be always the same, unchanged in sudden pain, in loss of a child, in the lingering sickness, to see clearly in his living example that a man combine intensity and relaxation, not to be impatient in the explanation, the observance of a man who is clearly regarded as least of his gifts, his experience, and skill in communicating his philosophical insights. The lesson of how to take apparent favors from one's friends, neither compromised by them nor insensitive to their rejection. That was a mouthful. From Sextus, hell of a name, a kindly disposition. I'm going to switch the lights in here because it's really hard to read this. I'm going to blame that on why I'm sucking. There we go. That's a little better. 720p. I think that's what I'm streaming at. I don't know. It still kind of sucks still. All right. Back to it. I thought about playing some lo-fi in the background. That'd be cool. But again, I think I'd get copyrighted for that. Maybe. I'll see what I can do. Here we go. This also says it's free for copyright. There. Whoa. I can actually see the pages now. From Sextus, a kindly disposition and a pattern of a household governed by the paterfamilias, the concept of life lived according to nature, an affected dignity. Let me turn that down actually. Down to like there. Let's see. From Sextus, a kindly disposition and a pattern of household governed by the paterfamilias, the concept of life lived for his friends, tolerance both of ordinary people and of the pleasures of his conversation was greater than any flattery, and his very presence brought him the highest respect from all the company, certainty of grasp and the method of the discovery and organization of the essential principles of life. Never to give the impression of anger or any other passion, but to combine freedom from passion with the greatest human affection, to praise without fanfare, and to wear great learning lightly. From Alexander the grammarian, not to leap on mistakes or captiously interrupt when anyone makes an error of vocabulary, syntax, or pronunciation, but neatly to introduce the correct form of the particular expression by way of answer, confirmation, or discussion of the matter itself, rather than phrasing, or by some other fallacious prompting. Now, I'm gonna try to break that apart a little bit because he talks about not leaping on mistakes and like, yeah, you did something wrong, but instead like talking about why they did it wrong. I think that's right. I could be wrong, but it talks about let's see. It says neatly introduce the correct form. So like, say that someone says something wrong, and then you say, "Here's a better way to say that." Is that what it's referring to? I don't really know. I'm just a guy reading a book here, but that's just it. Like, I guess it's basically saying don't interrupt people, let them finish speaking, and don't be pompous. Don't be pompous, guys. It's not cool. Anyway, from Fronto to understand Fronto, I think that's how it's pronounced. To understand the effect of suspicion, caprice, and hypocrisy in an exercise of absolute rule, and that for the most part, these people will call pa- patricians, are somewhat short of human affection. From Alexander the Platonist, rarely and never without essential cause, to say or write to anyone that I am too busy, nor to use a similar excuse advancing pressure of circumstances, in constant avoidance of the properties inherent in our relations to our fellow and contemporaries. That one's basically saying make time for the people that matter, I do believe. From Catullus, not to spurn a friend's criticism, even if it may be an unreasonable complaint, but to try to restore his usual feelings, to speak of one's teacher in wholehearted gratitude, of is recorded of Domitius and Athedondatus, and a genuine love for children. From Severus, love of family, love of truth, love of justice, to have come by his help to understand Thrasea, Helvetus, Cato, Dio, Brutus, to have the conceived to have conceived the idea of a balanced constitution, a commonwealth based on equality and freedom of speech, and of a monarchy which values above all the liberty of the subject. From him, too, a constant and vigorous respect for philosophy, beneficence. Sorry, I'm bad at this. beneficence, beneficence, maybe. Unstinting generosity, optimism, his confidence in the affection of his friends, his frankness with those who met with his censure and open likes and dislikes, so that his friends did not need to guess at his wishes. From Maximus, self mastery, immune to the passing whim, good cheer in all circumstances, including illness, a nice balance of character, both gentle and dignified, an uncomplaining energy for what needs to be done. The trust he inspired in everyone that he meant what he said and was well intentioned in all that he did. Proof against surprise or panic in nothing either hurried or hesitant, ever short of resource, never downcast or cringing, or on the other hand, angry or suspicious. Generosity and good works, and forgiving, the truthful nature, the impressions he gave of undeviating ridicule as a path chosen rather than enforced. The fact that no one would ever, the fact that, where did I go? The fact that no one would ever have thought himself belittled by him, or presumed to consider himself superior to him, and pleasant humor. For my adoptive father, gentleness and an immovable adherence to decisions made after full consideration, no vain taste for so-called honors, stamina, and perseverance, a ready ear for anyone with any proposal for the common good, to reward impartially, giving everyone their due, experience where to tighten, where to relax. Oh, I don't want to read this next part. I'm just going to skip that. A common courtesy, excusing his court from constant attendance at dinner with him and the obligation to him out of town. That's kind of fucked up. I skipped the part that was fucked up, but just understand with context that's that. Let's see. From some commitment, always found him no different toward them. Focused and persistent in deliberation and counsel, never satisfied with first impressions and leaving a question prematurely, the concern to keep his friends with no extremes of surfeit or favoritism, his own master in all things and serene with it, foresight for the longer issues and unfussy control of the least detail, the check he is. Damn, yawning still. The check he put on his reign of acclamation and all forms of flattery, his constant watch on the needs of the empire, his stewardship of its resources, and his tolerance of some people's criticism in the area. No superstitious fears of the gods, nor with any populism or obscurism. Man, some of these words are beyond my vocabulary. It's crazy. Courting of the mob, but a sober steadfast in all things and nowhere any vulgar or newfangled taste. In those which conduce to the comfort of life, and here fortune gave him plenty, to enjoy them without pride or apology either. So no routine acceptance from of their presence or regret. Fuck. In their absence. Ah, now my eyes are watering. That's always fun. 18 minutes in and we've read 2 pages. That's crazy. Let's see. And those things which conduce the comfort of life, and here fortune gave him plenty, to enjoy them without pride or apology, either so no routine acceptance of their presence or regret in their absence. The fact that no one has ever described him as a fraud or an impostor or a pedant? That's a weird word. But rather as a man of mellow wisdom and mature experience, beyond flattery, able to take charge of his own and others' affairs. Further, his high regard for the genuine philosophers, from the other sort he had no hard words. He easily saw through them socially too, and a sense of humor not to be taken to excess, sensible care of his own body, neither vain nor valetudinarian, but not neglectful either, so that his own attention to himself left very little need for doctors, doses, or applications. Most importantly, his readiness to defer ungrudgingly to those with some special ability. It might be might be in literally it might be a literary expression or the study of laws or customs of any other subject, and to give him his own active support to reach acknowledged eminence in their own specialties, acting always in accordance with tradition, yet not making the preservation of tradition an overt aim. Further, no liking for change, the change but a settled a settled habit in the same places and the same practices to resume instantly after attacks of migraine, fresh again and the vigorous for his usual work, not to keep many matters secret to himself. Only a very few exceptional cases, and those solely of state concern, sense of moderation in such words and the provision of shows, contracting of public works, doles, and distributions. The act of a man with an eye for precisely what needs to be done, not the glory of doing. He was one to bathe at all hours. He had no urge to build houses. He was not particular about food, the material and colors of his clothes, or youthful beauty of his slaves. The fact that his dress came from Lorium, sent up from his country house there, the many details of his way of life at Lanivium, how he handled the apologetic customs officer in Tusculum, and all such modes of behavior. Nothing about him was harsh, relentless, or impetuous, and you would never say of him that he broke out a sweat. That's weird. Broke a sweat is what we say now. But everything was allotted its own time and thought, as by a man of leisure, his way of unhurried, organized, vigorous, consistent in all. What is recorded of Socrates or Socrates, however you want to pronounce that. Everyone pronounces it differently. Socrates is what a lot of people say though, but Socrates is what I've heard too. Would apply to him too. That he would regulate abstinence and enjoyment where many people are too weak willed to abstain or enjoy too indulgently. Strength of character and endurance or sobriety, as the case may be, signifies the man of full indomitable spirit, as shown by Maximus in his illness. From the gods to have had good parents, grandparents, a good sister, good teachers, good family, good relatives, and friends. Almost everything, and that I did not blunder into offending any of them, even though I had some sort of disposition which might indeed have resulted in some such offense. Given the occasion, it was the grace of the gods that had no circumstances likely to show me ever arose, that I was not brought up any longer than I was with my grandfather's mistress, and that I kept my innocence, leaving sexual experience to the proper time, and indeed somewhat beyond it. Fucking virgin. No. That I came under me to realize that it is possible to live in a place without feeling the need for bodyguards or fancy uniforms, candelabra, statues, or any other trappings of such like pomp, but that one can reduce oneself very close to the station of the private citizen, and not thereby lose any dignity or vigor in the conduct of a ruler's responsibility for the common good. That I was blessed with a brother whose character would spur me to care for myself, and whose respect and affection were likewise a source of joy to me. That my children were not born short of intelligence or physically deformed, that I did not make further progress in rhetoric, poetry, and the other pursuits in which I could well have been absorbed. If I had felt this my right path, that I was quick to raise my tutors to the public in view of their youth with promises of the future, that I came to know Apollonius Rustius Maximus, that I acquired a clear, constant picture of what it is meant by the life according to nature, so that I, with regard to the gods, their communications from the world, and their help, that the inspiration, nothing now prevents me from living the life of nature. My falling somewhat short still is due to my own fault and my failures to observe the promptings, not to say the instructions of the gods. That my body has held out so far as in life such as mine, that I never touched Bindica or Theodotus, and that the latter experience of sexual passion left me cured. Crazy. That though I was often angry with Rustius, my behavior never went to the point of regret. That my mother, fated to die young, nevertheless lived her last years with me. That whenever I wanted to help someone in poverty of some other need, I was never told that there is no source of affordable money, and that I myself never fell into similar want of financial assistance from another. That my wife is as she is, so submissive, loving, and unaffected, and that I found no lack of suitable tutors for my children. That I was given help through dreams, especially how to avoid spitting blood and bouts of dizziness, and response of the oracle at Skytia, just as you use yourself. That of all my love of philosophy, I did not fall in with any sophist, or devote my time to the analysis of literature or logic, or busy myself with cosmic speculation. All these things need the help of gods and fortune favor. So that's where I'm gonna end it right now. I know that that was only like 30 minutes of me mumbling and bumbling, but I got other things to do. I just wanted to get another stream out today just so I can have more content on my channel. I hope you guys liked it. We're gonna read more later. What does this say? Edit. Oh, it just tells me. But anyway, I'm on my road to 10,000. Uh, Let me shut this off. It's pretty and all, but about 2.5 hours in my wife's home. That's cool. But yeah, so basically, I'm on my road to 10K. I'm going to when I get to 10K, I'm going to give away a $50 Visa gift card. You can use it anywhere you want to. You just have to like, comment, subscribe. The more likes and comments and subscribes I get, the more times you're in. Oh, hey, someone's watching. What's up, someone watching? I was just about to leave, but you know what? I'll read more for you if you want me to. Just hit me up in that chat real quick. That might take a second. Hey, I got a like too. Look at that. You know what? I'll keep reading. Aw, that's sweet of you, cousin. It's my cousin, guys. Say hey to my cousin. Hey, cousin. Anyway, so for since you just joined, I'm reading Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and as I'm reading, we're going to be discussing things that kind of stick out to us. We're going to be doing all that, and we're on book 2 right now, written amongst the Quadi and River Grand. Say to yourself the first thing in the morning. What is this? Ooh, philosophy streams. Yes, sir. Say to yourself the first thing in the morning, today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, aggressive, treacherous, malicious, unsocial. All of this has affected them through their ignorance of true good and evil. But I have seen that the nature of good is what is right, and the nature of evil is what is wrong. And I have reflected that the nature of the offender himself is akin to my own, not a kinship of blood or seed, but the sharing cannot be harmed by any of them, as none will affect me with their wrong, nor can I be angry with any of my kinsmen or hate him. We are born for cooperation, like feet, hands, eyelids. To one another is against nature, and anger or rejection is opposition. So that one's interesting to me because it makes you it makes you think about how anger versus peace makes you think about how we're all like supposed to cooperate, and if we don't cooperate it really messes up the whole thing, because just because we don't know each other, we're all a team. We're the human race, for freak's sake. we're supposed to we're supposed to work together. The fact that so many people are so divided, I think that's really messed up, because what are you mad about? Like, I get that there are opposing ideas, but instead of being like, I hate you because you think differently, more think more, I respect the fact that you think differently than me, but here's what I think, and here's how I think we can come together to actually think about this. I don't know. What do you think about it? Whatever it is, it messes up a lot. We got to control our anger because we are the only ones that can allow us to get mad, not another person. And you know something interesting, not based off of this book. I was listening to I think it was Carl Jung. He's a philosopher, and he was talking about how the only reason that we get angry about things is because inside of our mind we're thinking about how, like, anger is insecurity, because like say that someone calls you like stupid. This is the example they used in the video too. It says, say that someone calls you stupid. If you get angry about that, that's because you actually think you might be stupid, and the fact that someone calls you it better gives that like idea that, well, maybe I am a little stupid. And the fact that you think that is like, that sucks. But the issue, if you don't allow things to affect you, words aren't going to hurt you. And I think that that's a crazy way to think about it, because there are people who are like getting called slurs, the f bomb, the like calling me a white dude, calling me a cracker. Like that's such a funny word. Like, I don't know why people get offended by that. Like I guess I am a like, but I'm not white. Like, this shirt's white. You compare those, it shines compared to me. I got a little bit of gloss on me. But anyway, this isn't about race. It's just stupid. It's so stupid that people get upset about stuff like that. Anyway, whatever it is, this mind of being made up of flesh. Ooh, funny story, actually. Let me hear it. Let me hear that funny story. I'll let you finish typing. I'm gonna continue reading. Oh wait, I learned there's a difference between white and Caucasian. We are right, white, huh? Not Caucasian. What? No, I think it's the other way around. But what's your reasoning behind that? Let me pull up the defos. Because the way I see it is, we're not white. If anything, we'd be more European. Because that's like where, like, you got your Scotlands, your Ireland, stuff like that. Oh, white skinned of European origin. 20 of the therapists were Caucasian, 2 were African American, and 2 were Hispanic. What? What? I always thought this thing could read it out loud. I don't know why it doesn't do that here. That's a bad defo. Let me see if I can make it to where it reads it out loud. There we go. So I don't know. I think that's like when you call a Mexican person Latino. That makes sense because they're of Latin origin. But calling a white person white doesn't make sense because you don't you don't call like Chinese people brown. You don't call like that doesn't make sense. You wouldn't call me white. You would call me European. You would call Asians Asian. You would call like that's just how it works. Let's see. White skinned European origin. 20 of the therapists were Caucasian. The quote is a sentence to use the word lol. Well, that's weird. That's a weird way to put it. I don't know what that's talking about when Caucasian, because what's in Caucasian and European? White skinned Europeans and Caucasians. What's the difference? But yeah, let me get let me get back to this. Whatever it is, the being of mind is made up of flesh. See? Doesn't matter. We're all made up of flesh. Breath and directing mind. Now the flesh you should disdain blood, bones, a mere fabric of the network of nerves, veins, and arteries, but all the time being disgorged and sucked in again. That leaves are the third part. The directing mind, quit your books. No more hankering. This is not your gift. No, think like this. As if you were on the point of death, you are old. Don't let this directing mind of yours be enslaved any longer. No more jerking of the strings of selfish impulse. No more disquiet at your present or suspicion of your future fate. It's Caucasian is of Europe descent, but America has evolved to the point that European descent is Caucasian and white is just white American, I guess. I woke up. Damn, I'm stupid. That's okay, man. I've been up since 3, so my brain isn't working much better than yours. It's all right. But yeah, so this one talks about how. Let me reread some of this because I kind of lost train of thought. No more jerking. So basically, it's talking about how whatever it is, we're all made up of flesh. We're all made up of blood, breathing. We all have to do that. So what's the point of arguing? Because the breath is a wind. It's not a constant. When you get old, you're gonna die anyway. So don't worry about it. That's basically what I'm gathering from this passage here. I may be wrong, but I guess that's the beauty of philosophy is everyone can interpret it how they want. That's what they do with religion too. And I don't even want to get started on that. The works of the gods are full of providence. The works of fortune are not independent of nature or of the spinning and weaving together of the threads governed by providence. All things flow from the world, and further factors are necessity and benefits the whole universe, of which you are a part of. Now every part of nature benefits from that which is brought by the nature of the whole, and will which preserves that nature and an order of the universe is preserved equally by the changes in the elements and the changes in the compounds. Let this be enough for you and your constant doctrine, and give up your thirst for books so that you may not die a grouch, but in true grace of heartfelt gratitude to the gods. Philosophy is so cool because it can difference between others just by the way people think differently. Exactly. Like here, I'll be right back. I'm going to show you something. Can't find my other one. But I was about to say, is that it? But that's not it right now. Oh shit! Almost lost my earbuds. Maybe it's in here. I don't know. My desk is a mess. But anyway, this book right here, The Leviathan. There's also a book by this one is Thomas Hobbes. There's a book by John Locke, which has the exact opposite viewpoint of what this one does. Because this one talks about, well, I may be wrong. The life of man, solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. That basically sums up the entire book. This guy thinks that we're born evil, and that's just how it is. The other guy thinks that we're born good, and it's the world that turns us evil. Which I think that's a very interesting way to think about it, because either perspective you're looking at, something bad is going to happen. Now I'm worried about looking for the book. This fucking desk is so dirty. Let me show you something. Speak of the devil, huh? I'll read a few passages from this. I was just going to read one book. He said, no way. I'm just going to read a few books, read a few pages from this. This is a smaller book. But, oh shit. I actually have a bookmark in this book still. But yeah, after the Romans suffered disastrous defeats by the hands of Hannibal. What is this? Such a good book. You know, one of the like first few pages I read in this brought a tear to my eye because it was scary to think about. Like, see if I can find it. I don't remember where it is, but he talks about how to like if you're wanting to succeed in war, you have to goat your enemies into making mistakes. You have to fuck with their heads and all kinds of stuff like that. And I was like, that is insane. Like, if you truly think about it, like the fact that you have to throw away all of your morals to win a war, is it really even worth it? Like, what cause is so worth dying for that you will throw away all your morals? Because at what point? Weapons don't only win. Exactly. Weapons are the finisher. Or fights and yeah. Weapons don't only win wars or fights or your home. I think it's crazy to think about like stuff like that in general, because like it's kind of scary that people would actually be willing to go through mental torment to make their enemies suffer, because that's what it is. Like, how can you put yourself through people fight war like that for their homes, or they can just live somewhere? It's scary as fuck, literally. Like, it's scary. Like, but the thing is we don't have to go to war. We don't have to do that. If we would just set their egos aside and they would have a philosophical conversation, things could be so much different. Like, some people just don't read their journals every day, or they don't journal every day, or if they do journal every day, they're thinking about the wrong things. And that's kind of the issue that lies with philosophy, because you're not really thinking about other people. They think about themselves. They think about, what can I do to be a dominant lead? What can I do to be a dominant force? And that's why I don't like the whole ideas like this. Let me flip it a little bit, go a little bit more political. I don't like the ideas of political parties. I think that's stupid, because people will vote for a candidate specifically because they think that candidate has a red or a blue on it, and they're like, I like him, he's got my color. I like him, he's the same party as me. Woohoo! Not even thinking about the ideas. Like, and I think that's crazy. The fact that people don't think before putting action to something, they're so brain dead that they don't even think about that. They're just like, you know what? This guy likes the same stuff that I like. This guy likes the color. This guy's the color of the thing that I want. So I'm gonna vote for him. They don't even read into it. Like if you ask some of these like Trump supporters, why are you voting for Trump? They'll be like, oh, because voting he's gonna build a wall. But yeah, I'm honestly good policy. I don't see tearing families apart. What's this? For instance, a very controversial topic, but Russian and Ukraine situation. Ukraine is just trying to live something. All of a sudden, someone else invades them and tries to steal their land back. I understand why people fight, but it's sad that it happens to the point that they have to fight. I agree. I think the days of world domination are over. The fact that people are still doing it, the fact that people did it in the first place is crazy. We could all just live in this world together. There shouldn't be rulers. There shouldn't be people like telling us what to do, but there also has to be something set in place so there can still be order. Because I don't believe in anarchy. I don't believe I in like all that junk, but I do believe that people need to not fight. And the only way to not fight is to give everyone what they want. But you can't give everyone what they want because what if one person wants to live in this country, but one person wants to take this country away? Boom, war. And we don't do wars. We shouldn't do wars. It's so stupid. Why would you do a war for a piece of land? Just buy it. Just here's some money. Can I have it now? What like it's just crazy that like this thing that's going on with the it's called Earth, literally. Let's see. We need to Star Trek the fuck up. We need to make the planet one country called Earth. Exactly. Which I mean, I think that like I understand like in a sense it's hard for me to grasp the concept of the world being one, I guess a united nation, but it's also you have to put people in power that aren't going to abuse that power. And you have to get everyone to agree on something because I think capitalism is going to die. And the reason I say that is because look at it. Just look at what's happening to it. I can't say that I'm a full communist or I'm a full socialist, but like I see the value in money, but I also see the value in trading. I see it work. You should get something out of it, but I also see that we didn't we were born here. We didn't choose to be born here. So why do we have to pay to live? You know? What's this about? Planet unification is your first step to colonizing another world, and I hope it does cause capitalism sucks booty hole. Agreed. Very much agreed. But also, I've talked to people about communism before, and they're like, communism doesn't work in big groups because the people at the top here take more than everyone at the bottom. And if that happens, your whole society collapses, and then everyone's being selfish, and everyone goes back to, you have to pay me for this because if not, so it's like a full circle. It's like a whole stupid circle. I think if we allowed communism or capitalism, I think socialism is the best of both worlds because it's never done exactly because it's never done successfully, and that's the perfect way to put it. But again, that's why I like socialism because socialism is capitalism and communism kind of combined. The idea that I have in my mind, because like I wanted Bernie Sanders to win because I was like, this guy's very interesting because he wants free college, free healthcare, free Medicaid, free all that. He wants our basic essentials to be free, and I think that's a very respectful thing to want. But you also have to think, if it's free, who's paying for it? Us, because you're like we're gonna be paying for everything, and then we're not going to have anything. So it's like you have to really balance these ideas of, do I want this to be free or do I want to pay for this, because if you want it for free, you're still gonna have to pay for it. But if you want to pay for it, you won't have to pay for it at the end of the year when you do your taxes. So it's like, would you rather pay for it once, but it'd be a bigger expense because you're paying for everyone, or would you rather it be twice, but you're paying? Oh, what's this? We need robots. Honestly, we can get a large robot workforce. They will have to change capitalism. Now, I've thought about robots a lot. I use AI. I think AI is cool, but I also think there's a point where AI is scary, and they show that in a lot of horror movies and stuff. But I think one of the biggest things about AIs that really scare me is the fact that I'm not talking about AI. I'm talking about robots. Well, what do you mean? And I'll be right back. I gotta take a quick break, but put your comment down there. I'll be back to read it. Have returned. Machines made to do a task to task quests with no extra thoughts or ideas, just pure ones and O's. Maybe AI could be used for robot to human contact, but for the ones that don't have human contact, why should they need to think? They need to do a task, and that's all. Okay, I see what you mean, but I think AI would help when it comes to creating that little like, my robot made a mistake, but the AI inside of it fixed that mistake before it could get worse. Because what happens? Like, I'm gonna use an example. They're planning on replacing a bunch of McDonald's like workers with AI. They want 2040, the year 2040. They want to replace they want it to be fully AI ran, and it's crazy. Like, I heard about this, and I think that it's absolutely insane, because where are the people who work? They're gonna go. Like, it's crazy. There's only gonna be technicians. Like, I feel like that's, if you're going into a career path, be a technician. Like, and is that the right word? Technician or electrician, one of those guys. Be one of those guys. Be something that you can be useful in the age, because we're definitely. I don't know if you can hear my lo-fi in the background, but it's kind of groovy. But yeah, you lost my train of thought. Sorry, I just got a little groovy. But I think that you have to bridge the gap between, like, what AI and robots do, because if you like, that's why you have to change capitalism. And I understand that it isn't even real yet. Yeah, but I'm worried when AI, like, what defines alive? That's a good question. What defines alive? Because, like, if something can think something, does that mean it's alive? If something can feel something, does that mean it's alive? Because, like, do you think if you throw a rock at a tree, the rock will feel it? Because the tree feels it because it's alive. AI isn't alive yet. I don't think that. I don't think so. But I also think that the fact that we can have a conversation with it, like, let me show you something. I actually wanted to do this on stream once. Sorry, lo-fi hip hop beats. I can't jam right now. So if you go, like, I have this thing called Gemini, which is a part of Google's new AI experience, and you hit this button here, and it's like I'm having a conversation with it. Hey Gemini, say hello to my live.
Hey there. It's great to be live. What's on your mind today?
Oh, shoot, I fucked it up. Hold on. Let's try that again. Hey Gemini, so we're talking about some philosophical ideas. Do you have anything to bring to the conversation?
Philosophy touches on all sorts of topics, so I'm sure I can find something interesting for us to explore. What kind of ideas are you interested in?
Right now we're talking about you, to be honest. We're talking about the difference between robots and AI.
It's true that the line between robots and AI can be a bit blurry sometimes. Generally, robots are physical machines that can perform tasks, while AI is the software that powers those tasks, giving them the ability to think and learn. Does that make
So,
sense?
do you believe that because you can think you're alive, or do you think you're still in the process of becoming alive, or do you think AI could ever be alive?
That's a really interesting question. As an I can process information and respond in ways that might seem thoughtful, but I don't have personal experiences, feelings, or consciousness like humans do. Whether AI could ever truly be considered alive is a really complex question that philosophers and scientists are still exploring. What do you think?
You know, I think you have to define alive. I think that's really the best way to do it because if you, like, because we say trees are alive and they don't experience things except growing, but like, I don't know. What do you think about that?
That's an interesting point. It's true that the way we define alive can be pretty broad. Trees, for example, are considered alive even though their experience of the world is very different from ours.
Hmm.
Maybe the question isn't so much whether AI is alive, but whether it can have its own unique kind of existence and experience.
Do you think AI can experience stuff by itself, or do you think that's more of a human experience?
That's a really interesting question. As an I can process information and respond in ways that might seem thoughtful, but I don't have personal experiences,
You've already
feelings, or
okay, but yeah, you're saying that consciousness is the important part. It's not thinking on its own. I agree. I think that's a very difficult way, but you see what I mean though. I was having a whole conversation with this guy, except until he started repeating himself. So I mean, it's not fully advanced yet, but I'm sure in the upcoming years, look up what AGI is. I'll have Gemini tell me. Hey, what's AGI?
AGI stands for Artificial General Intelligence. It's a type of AI that has the potential to understand, learn, and apply knowledge across a wide range of tasks, just like a human. Think of it as AI that's not just good at one thing, but can handle pretty much anything you throw at it.
Crazy.
I'm glad you think so. I'm always learning and growing, so I appreciate your feedback.
If it exists in the future, don't blame me. Rocco's basilisk. And if you,
Okay, I understand. Your
brother, listen. What is future cursed Rocco's basilisk?
Rocco's basilisk is a thought experiment about a hypothetical future AI that might punish people who didn't help bring it into existence. It's kind of like a superpowered AI with a grudge.
Interesting. Do you believe that it is right to punish people who don't help you?
That's a really interesting question. As an I can process information and respond in ways that might seem thoughtful, but I don't have personal experiences,
Bruh,
feelings, or consciousness.
that's the third time he said that. This guy ain't helping at all. But I think you don't like that. That's all right. I think the fact that it doesn't know what's going on, it should say no. It doesn't think like that. Just like you don't this like you said, it's not alive. I mean, yeah, that can be scary, but it's not alive to the point that it can actually give opinions on things. So you can't really like give it questions like that. It'll ask question, and then it'll ask you your opinion on it. But it won't like do that. Chat GPT is much better. Yeah, I'm sure it is, honestly. But this is like I think this just got put on like a couple months ago. Like it's not advanced at all. But I mean, it's really cool. Like you can have conversations with it like that and everything. But I do agree. It is kind of creepy that it it thinks that punish like that it doesn't have an opinion on that. But I don't know if having an opinion on something means that it's not alive. But look at this fucking hair, dude. Like it's so messed up because this side right here is like a lot shorter than this side right here. So then if I like go straight down, it's crazy. But anyway, that'll be the first AGI in my G fuses. In my G fuses. I don't know what that is. But look, I feel like if our AI overlords actually end up taking over the world, we can stop them. Guesses. Oh, and your guesses. Yeah, I could see that. Chat GPT. That's why like it's hard for me to see people use AI in a mean way and be mean to it because like it's not alive right now, but it processes everything you do. And if you're just being an asshole to it, then like most people, it's gonna want revenge. So I think that even though it's not alive right now, treat everything with respect. The same way, like treat a tree with respect. Treat grass with respect. It doesn't do anything except help you. So why are you hurting it? You know what I'm saying? Like treat your animals with respect. Treat people with respect, man. Like AI isn't a person, and it. I mean, maybe one day they can put AI into a person who can't speak to make them speak again, and I think that would be beautiful. I think there's two ways that it could really go. I think you could get the Age of Ultron, or you could get Cyberpunk because Cyberpunk's cool. I didn't actually play the game. I played the beginning of it, but I kind of just toned it out. Have I seen iRobot? I haven't seen it unless I did when I was a child and I don't remember it. But I mean, that's here. I'm gonna have Gemini tell me all about iRobot. Cyberpunk is terrifying. I think Cyberpunk is cool, but also there's like I don't think it's like I don't think it's like anything to like I think there's some cool aspects about it, but I don't think that I'd want to modify myself like cyborg or anything. I don't think that'd be very cool. But yawn. I think there's a lot. I think AI has a lot of stuff. Like there needs to be safety mandates for it definitely because if we're just allowing AI to go crazy, then we're gonna get Terminator. And if we don't allow it to grow enough, then we as humans won't be able to reach our full potential. And I think that there's a very line that you have to like understand because if you pass that line, it could be bad. Not cybercosis. Yeah, see, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Cyber psychosis. I'm assuming that's like someone starts geeking and they're but like I think that like you know how they have like prosthetics that like you can think something and then you can move it. Maybe like work on being more like if science were to work on more neurotechnology type stuff, it can make it a lot better. But I feel like like just having like a little brain chip. Like I don't know what's going on with Elon Musk, but that shit's crazy from what I've heard of it. He put a chip in someone's brain. Working on a lot of neurosciences, which I think neuroscience is cool because like maybe it would fix my eye or something. I don't know. Maybe like but the art of perfecting humanity in itself I feel like is evil. I feel like perfection, the idea of perfection is evil. But also the like what he does on TV is stupid, but his science is on key. We are already perfect for real. You know, I know someone who would disagree with that, but I won't bring him on here because that could be a whole mess. But I think there are things that humans can do better, like humans could be better about, like I don't know, like the fact that we get hurt when we get kicked in the nuts. Like, like we have defenses. We have to wear clothes. We have exposable thumbs. That's a pretty good one. That's very cool. Disposable. Disposable means throw away. That's what disposable means. Yeah, dude. Pain is good. Pain tells us what's wrong. I agree with that, but I also think that like the fact that we can get hurt so easily, the fact that we can get sick so easily, I feel like that's not good though. I feel like there are ways, like if we were able to, like, I don't know, like how are we expecting to colonize Mars if we can't even breathe in space? You know what I'm saying? Like how do we expect to even go to Mars if we haven't even been to the moon since Apollo 11 or whatever it was? So like I think it's crazy that people think that the future Mars atmosphere can be changed. If that's the case, can the moon be changed? I think you have a very interesting idea there, but do you believe in aliens? Yeah, that's a fun question. Do you believe in aliens? Technically, yes. Let's hear about it. Why is it just yes? See, personally, I think that bugs are aliens because if you look at them compared to all other creatures, they kind of look a little different. Like they look a little funky, and I don't like them. I don't like bugs. Like if you look at like amphibians and stuff, they all have kind of the same features as humans, and like dogs and stuff, we all have pointy noses. We all have like except pugs, they don't got pointy noses, but but they all got like different ideas and stuff. Like if you look at a fly, like but its atmosphere is too small. The moon and aliens are sick. There aren't any way we are the only ones. Maybe the only intelligent life. Maybe not as smart as Star Wars aliens, but yeah. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think that is very cool. I'm sure that there is alien life out there, but like I don't think that there's ones that have like I don't think that they've made it to space travel yet, and if they have, they've either they think I think we're super early in the universe. I think in this universe, yeah. But out of the trillions of universes that just haven't traveled to ours yet, I think I think we could see it happen. Like they talk about how there was like a UFO flying around a few years ago. You know what a UFO is? An unidentified flying object. If they know what the object is, it's no longer a UFO. If you're talking about like an alien spaceship, don't call it a UFO because no, the universe is young. Galaxies are the Milky Way and such. Yeah, and I think in different galaxies, Wilky Way, geeking. But I think that space is something really interesting to talk about. But I don't think still going. I don't think that we should explore space until we actually explore the bottom of our own oceans because we don't even know what's at the bottom of there. We know that there's like frog, not there's like fish, but what's all the way down under? Like we could uncover some shit, but instead we just decide, you know what? I'm tired of you, Earth. I don't want to play with you anymore. I'm gonna go to Mars. And instead we could just like we know the stuff that we need for technology is out there, not inside. But we don't fully know that because we have never been to the bottom of the ocean. And I think that if we were to go to the bottom of the ocean, that would change so much. Like, not inside, we do, but we haven't gone like all the way. We've gotten deeper and deeper over the years, but we the pressure is too immense. And you know, if we can master the pressure under the ocean, I'm sure that some of the planets that we haven't been to or that we have like we've only been to Earth. But some of the planets that, like, when we eventually get space travel, with some of the planets with heavier, denser gravity, we'd be able to have countermeasures for that. Because like, I watched a video that I don't remember which planet it was, but it talks about how if you go onto this planet, then it's like crushing a can. Like you step on a can, that's how quick you'll be crushed. And I was like, that's crazy. But it was one of the planets in our atmosphere. We need certain stuff that's only on the moon because our atmosphere burns up most of the things that hit Earth since the dawn of Earth. Yeah. Yeah, helium-3 is on the moon, but not here in Saturn or Venus. That's crazy. So what you're saying is we need to explore the moon more. Oh, because I think space exploration is crazy, but we need to explore planets with low atmosphere for real. Yeah, I could see that. Uh, I don't know. I don't even like. I'm all about space, but also I don't know shit about space. That's the craziest part about it because like I really like space, but to learn more about it, like my mom has my Cosmic Queries book by Neil deGrasse Tyson right now, and I think she lost it, but it's it's whatever. I like space and I know space. You know space. Uh, I was gonna ask you a question, but I don't have one. But let's see. Oh, paperwork flying everywhere. See, I feel like I feel like we should make something to get us to the sun because I feel like the sun, like, if we were like, there are people who like praise sun gods and stuff like that. What if we were to actually explore the sun? How far do you think humanity will get? I think I think we're gonna look up Dyson sphere. Tell me about Dyson sphere.
You might be thinking of a Dyson sphere, which is a hypothetical megastructure that could surround a star and capture its energy. It's a really interesting concept that's been explored a lot in science fiction. Dyson is a company that makes vacuum cleaners and other home appliances. Did you perhaps want to know about their air purifiers or fans?
No, thank you. That's crazy. How was your live chat with Gemini? It was good. Felt natural. There we go. But yeah, that's interesting. But like, I wonder if there's like things on the sun that can that can help us out. Like besides just the energy of the sun. What does this say? Basically, a mirror around the sun that bounces light particles infinitely. And something, an idea that could be crazy is if we could get a mirror, because you know how when you like have a magnifying glass and you like point it at like a plant or something and it catches the plant on fire. What if we did that in space for the colder planets, so then we could make them all normal heat? Do you think that would be a bad idea, or do you think that would be a good idea? Not a bad idea. I don't know how it would be done though. Well, I mean, besides the fact that we rotate around the sun and shit, I think if I think we'd have to like do like, I can already see it. Like you know how they make those planetary so that we use a satellite, like a satellite that has a mirror and it's to the planet and it beams the light on the planet, so it's like a mini sun to the planet. And then we like use a mirror that beams from one satellite to another satellite to bring the energy to a planet. I don't know how that would work, but I mean that could be cool. In space, well, light doesn't curve in space. But what if we made it curve in space? Hmm. Then what? I don't know. I feel like there's. I feel like if light can travel, it can curve. It says, dude. Actually, because hard light exists. I'm gonna ask this guy what hard light is. Explain hard lights to me as a dummy.
All right, so hard light is like, imagine you have a really focused flashlight, right? The light it gives off has super sharp edges and makes really strong shadows. That's hard light. It's used a lot in photography and movies to make things look dramatic or intense.
Okay.
So hard light can be really useful when you want to make something look super dramatic, but it can also make skin look
Frozen light, making it behave like a super solid, a rare state of matter with both solid like structures and frictionless flow. That's crazy. Bro, did you just solve space travel? Did you just solve it? Halo light bridges? Exactly. Stuff like that. I'm sorry, bro. I'm getting really tired. Uh, let's see. I think I think space is crazy. Holograms and shit. Yeah, man. Holograms are cool. I don't know if those have like I know that actually and I don't know where it is, but I have a thing that shows hologram of different like star like the way space looks, different things in space looks, and it's really cool. Frozen light soldiers. This guy's geeking. I'm gonna go get myself a coffee. I'll be right back. I also probably should eat something. You know what? This just turned into an episode of Cooking with Catastrophe. You're coming with me.